turkey, you're mistaken. When it's on, I put it on the table. I try to share it, but I'm not able. I wanted to. For every meal, that is what I'm making. I wanted to. You think I mean turkey, you're mistaken. I'm gonna puke. When it's on, I put it on the table.
Greetings and welcome back to Big Bacon's Bunker. I'm your host, Big Bacon. Today we're going to be looking at, a lot of people are going to think it's the newer version. It's not. Today we're going to be looking at the Star Wars Return of the Jedi, the Deluxe Galaxy Pack Boba Fett, which is the exact same one that just came on the 40th card. Mine's loose because I've had it a while. But just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. So, here we have Mr. Fett, the Django wannabe, the not a Mandalorian. Yeah, we've got Boba. So, we're going to look at the accessories that I do display him with. Look at the figure, do just a quick overview on articulation. Gear him up and get him on the shelf. Now, that being said, before we actually look at what he does have on display, I'm going to discuss briefly some of the things that I don't have on display with him. Just bear with me a second and I'll actually show you the accessories I don't have displayed with him. Okay, so apparently fate has determined that I am not going to be able to show you everything that he comes with. Now, I do have some stuff. So let's take a look at that. In fact, I have everything except one half of something. So this is a deluxe figure. So he does come with, this piece does mount to his wrist. It's got a string and it's got his hook on it. Now honestly, I think if they had wired this so you could actually have it stick out, it would have looked a whole lot nicer. He's got a flame effect that plugs into his flamethrower. This looks really good, but the weight of it over time causes his arm to kind of drag down. So that's why I don't display him with this. He comes with a second blaster, which I have half of. So yes, both halves do peg together to create the whole blaster, but it's the Jabba skiff part where Luke cuts the weapon in half. So, those are what he is not displayed with. Looking at what he does have on him when I display him, he's got his jetpack. Now, the color pattern on this is very accurate to what you see in Jedi. And then all of this extra paint detail, the pitted look, the worn metal, the scrapes, the scratches along the high points, this all looks really good. The jet thrusters do articulate slightly, back and forth, not no side to side, but just front and back. And then you have a big hole in the top. Why? Accessory number 2, removable rocket. Now, I've seen some versions of Boba where they've got a blast effect that plugs into here, and then the rocket looks like it's actually firing. That would have been epic for this, but they didn't do that. Instead, they gave us a rocket that plugs in or plugs out. So I'm going to have him displayed wearing the full gear. So, and then we've got this. We've got an Old West 6-shooter that has been modified. It now has a buttstock, and the weathering on this thing is just, it's beautiful, man. There's a scope. A big bulky barrel. It's just a nice looking piece. Moving on to Boba. The helmet is not as bad as I've seen others. I have not gone through and heated the helmet, but a lot of them I've seen, the helmet is very flat, coming inwards. A little bit of heat, you can actually extend it outwards and give it a wider look like it's supposed to have. Now you can see the paint on my visor is not good. It missed a large portion of the visor. But the paint apps for the helmet itself look really good. I mean, it's beautiful, man. It comes around to the back. which we cannot say for the chest armor. You get some up here around the neck, some of it here, dents and paint. Oh, great. Nice tampo of the Mythosaur helmet, of his clan emblem. We have cords that disappear up into the arm, which we'll get back to here in a little bit. This side has the flamethrower, which, if you're curious, this thing just kind of slips over. You do have to kind of move the hand around to open up a little bit of space in there. Then it helps if you've got it going in the right direction. But yeah, it pegs right onto that. So, there we go, that looks a little better. He's got his braided Wookiee scalps. He's got his little cloak piece. All weathered, but it's done in that soft rubbery plastic and not soft goods. Belt has that old leather look to it. Underneath there, you got a little bit more texture for the top. Some more braided attachments there. As you can see, the paint in the back is not great. Big pouches hanging down off the belt. Big pouches on the sides. Knee plates with the rocket launchers. Looking good. The tools. Even his spring-loaded knife boots, which you never actually seen used. Everything, I mean, yeah, this undersuit is a little bright. A little too clean. But aside from that, everything else with this figure is fire. So as I said, we're just going to briefly go over articulation visually. I'm not going to point out anything unless I think it really deserves it. Now also, up underneath the helmet is a head. A lot of people I've seen peel the helmet off, clean it up, paint the head underneath, and it does look good. So the shoulder pads are attached to this main body, but they do lift up when you go to extend the arm, so you can T-pose it. But getting it around is a different story. So the actual forearm piece will move independently of the forearm. This side you have to be careful articulating because these hoses will stretch and they will snap. Okay, so what do you say we... Oh, I did forget to point out that the rangefinder on the helmet does articulate up and down. So there is a triple peg in the back of the body that you line up all three of those pegs and shove in. That also keeps it from rotating on the body. Hands are fairly soft, which is required because of how this handle is made. Getting that thumb inside that gap is, well, it's a pain in the ass. Now we just have to get the finger out of the way and get it to slide down the handle a little bit. sweet Mother Mary and Joseph. Can anything just be simple with this figure? There we go. A little bit of pressure behind it. Pulled it out. Trying to get this other hand on is requiring an act of God or Congress. There we go. So it takes some work. The hands are not necessarily the easiest things to work with. But a little bit of effort, and you've got a badass looking Boba Fett for your shelf. So, what do you say we pick them up and move them to the shelf? The jetpack does make him a little back heavy. And there you have him. So, it's time for Bacon's final thoughts. What you looking at? Look, I ain't gonna lie. When that figure was first released and I found him, I was very excited to get him. Now I've had him a while. He's been on display, off display, and now he's back on display again. And you know what? I'm just as excited now as I was then. That is a beautiful Boba Fett. Yeah, mine is not quite perfect. But anytime something is mass-produced, mass-manufactured, you're going to have the occasional issue. You know, the little bit of missing paint along the edge of the visor, disappointing. But on display from a distance, it doesn't stand out. It's not noticeable, which makes it a beautiful display piece. So, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, comment, share this video, hit that notification bell, and don't do anyone I wouldn't do. Till next time.
But bacon needs no out.